Team Irvin took down Team Rice Sunday night in the Pro Bowl, winning 49-27. Russell Wilson won MVP after throwing for 164 yards and 3 TDs. But late in the fourth, things got sloppy. Sherm losing 22 yards on a reverse. Skip, I know you watched this whole game. Should this be the last time the Pro Bowl is played after what you saw last night?
Molly, Stephen A., unfortunately, ultimately, those players made a case last night for eliminating the Pro Bowl. And as I've told you before, Stephen A., I do love the Pro Bowl, and I really enjoyed the first half of last night's Pro Bowl because Russell Wilson put on a show. And then I must admit, I got a kick out of watching Eli Manning throw an interception to Sean Lee. How about that Cowboy? At least that I can hang on to that for this year, this lost year for the Dallas Cowboys. But in the second half, especially in the fourth quarter, the players made a mockery out of a football game. And I do not understand it, and I don't know how the coaches and Michael Irvin and Jerry Rice let this happen. But all of a sudden, I'm looking up, and there's Odell Beckham Jr. and Dante Freeman at safety. Odell's playing safety because nobody else wanted to play safety. I don't know what was happening. And then at the very end of the game, and I was still watching, Michael Bennett, who happens to be, as you know, a defensive end for the Seattle Seahawks, winds up in shotgun formation, is handed the football, and takes off running. It appeared to me untouched right through the middle of the defense for what, I don't know what, 60, 70-yard touchdown. Got all the way to the end zone. But a referee said, no, somebody actually touched him with his hand. So they were just literally playing touch football at that point, and he was down after about a 4-yard gain. Touch football, it has come to this. I didn't want to see it. I immediately tweeted that could be the death knell for a game. Obviously, they have TV contracts they're going to have to honor. But if nobody wants to play it, then I don't want to watch it.
Well, Skip Bayless, I appreciate you seeing the error of your ways and your thinking and siding with yours truly. I'm proud of you. It's a rare moment that you're willing to verbalize such a mea culpa. It's not in your DNA, being the ultimate contrarian that you are. But to see you...
I'm not a contrarian.
But to see you, reach this point, you should be very, very proud of yourself. I know I'm proud of you. I mean, it's one of your greatest moments right now, finally recognizing to agree with me and my infinite wisdom. I tried to tell you. I tried to tell you this on many occasions, Skip Bayless. The Pro Bowl is a joke. Man, I was over at my boy Jeff's house with the family. She made me, his lovely wife Nina made me some chicken, some green beans, some string beans, some macaroni and cheese. Had my chocolate chip cookies. Yes, I cheated with the sweet Skip Bayless. Had my chocolate chip cookies. Man, I was busy watching a movie. I told you I wasn't going to watch the Pro Bowl, and I did it. I didn't waste my time. It's an absolute joke. It's a waste of time. It's not a football game. We all know it, and I don't blame the players because the sport is so violent. And you combine that with the issue involving guaranteed contracts, signing bonuses and the like. It's just too much of a risk. It's a violent sport. Have the ceremony. Label them all pros. Give them their just due. You know what? It's the NFL with its multi-billion-dollar sales, with each owner pocketing $226 million a few months ago. Stop being so damn cheap. Fly to all-pro players and their families out to Hawaii. That's their gift for being all-pros. They all get a free trip to Hawaii for the week and call it a day. And stop trying to milk the American public, for every living cent that you can. How about that? Because we don't need to see them playing football because we know they're not playing football. And why should they? I was proud of the players. Nobody went after guys' legs and knee shots and all. They were very cognizant of the fact that it's an exhibition because the sport is too violent for you to go out there and play it with any degree of seriousness. You don't take that risk. You don't do it.
Okay. Quick point of order before we go on, Molly. I'm not a contrarian because contrarians just take the other side to take it. I take the right side, but not always the popular side. So don't call me a contrarian. Thank you.
Well,
You're a leader.
a contrarian to me is the opposite side, but you're usually wrong because you're going up against me. So I get to call you a contrarian. Nobody else does, but I get to call you a contrarian because you're rarely right with me.
I'll leave you with that delusion.
We'll leave it there. Skip, I did watch it like you, and I guess I'm with both Skip and Stephen A. I did find it to be a tough watch there as well. The ratings were down a little bit from last year, but still far and away the highest rated sporting event of the weekend. More First Take after the break. Stay here.
Everybody has their own thing. You can sit there and point to the letter because you're looking for some kind of public affirmation or validation as to what he's experiencing. You don't know what emails he receives. You don't know what the communication is like for him in the streets. You don't know what it's like for him to walk through the streets of Charlotte, North Carolina, which I believe is just a beautiful, beautiful city. And I love the folks down there. But you don't know what he experiences. I imagine he's very, very much loved because of the way they're looking right now. But at the same time, you also have to remember that it's the Bible Belt. And there's a certain way that you conduct yourself or else. And it's not about black and white. It's about morals. It's about behavior. That's why they call it the Bible Belt. There's certain things that they're simply not going to tolerate. But just because those kind of things happen, and because it may have nothing to do with race at all, I'm here to tell you, the reality is that you have some folks that may interpret it and absorb it that way, because when you are an African American in this country and you have to deal with certain things, regardless of how much we've improved as a society and how far we've come and how many God-fearing, loving people that are out there of all races, ethnicities, etc. The reality is that the small minority screeches the loudest sometimes. And sometimes that is what affects you because of what you're being subjected to, particularly when you're somebody in Cam's position who's living in a relative cocoon because you're so popular that you can't get out there and mingle and mix with the status quo. Your exposure to the select few sometimes may be on the negative side instead of the positive side. You don't know what he's going through. He didn't make that statement for nothing. It came from somewhere. I don't know where it came from. I can imagine, but I don't know where it came from. And the problem is that you have some folks, and we live in, and society has become really, really slick. And again, I harken back, Skip, if you don't mind me saying so, to the whole Chip Kelly incident. You had white folks in an uproar, like you were talking about them. You weren't talking about them. You're talking about Chip Kelly. You didn't say, and one of the reasons, that's why I highlighted. Nobody said the stuff about Chip, the stuff that was said about Chip Kelly. Nobody said that about Bill Belichick. Nobody said that about Bill Parcells. Nobody said that about Mike McCarthy, Don Shula, Sean Payton, Bill Cowher. The list goes on and on. Nobody said anything about that. They said it about Chip Kelly. But you had people standing up in an uproar and made it a referendum on race and racial issues and black and white and how things are interpreted and all of this other stuff. No, we were talking about him. And so when you are if you're living in a society, all people have to recognize and really look at is the fact that don't personalize it. Take it for what it is. If somebody's talking about Skip, they're talking about you. They're not talking about all white guys, okay? And if people stop personalizing it, then the stories won't be as big as they are, and we won't have to have this referendum, this national discussion, or anything like that. There would be a greater understanding. But because we can't get to that point for some reason, stories like Cam Newton proliferate to astronomical proportions because, he said what he had to say. And people in general are offended by it because they take it as a personal shot against them when the person that was victimized was him.
Got it.
All right. Cam's transparency and dominance on the field certainly appreciated on this show here on First Take. He's the fourth quarterback in Super Bowl history to enter the game with 50 combined passing and rushing TDs. The three previous quarterbacks all lost the game. Cam looking to change that Sunday, and many think that he will. Moving on.